Okay, welcome to video 1, layout. So this video is for those of you who really want to put their name on their folder and they want it to look nice and neat, but the problem you keep running into, like let's go with the name Polly, is you go to draw the name, you want it nice and big. And then you realize, oh no, I'm out of room, and you do something weird like this with your letter and you squish it. Okay, so this video is going to teach you how not to squish it. The opposite problem would be you start out really small because you don't want this to happen again. Then you have all this extra room, and maybe you want that, maybe you don't. But what you know is that the folder requirement, you need to have bubble letters and they need to be at least 2 or 3 inches tall. So you know you need to fit those letters, you know you can't go super tiny, so what do? Well, first, let's say this is your folder. What you need to do is measure the folder. So my folder here is 9.5 inches. Okay, so now what I need to do is figure out where's the middle of the folder. So 9.5 divided by 2 is going to give me 4 3/4, or 4.75. So what I would do is take my folder. At the bottom, I would make a mark at 4.75. At the top, I would make a mark at 4.75. Very, very lightly. Very lightly. Draw a line connecting the two. Okay, now I gotta find out the center of my name. So, if my name is Polly, what I want to do is count the letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Count over 3, 1, 2, 3. There's the middle. 3 on this side, 3 on that side. Okay, now let's say we've got an odd amount of letters, just so I'm covering both types of names. So let's say we have a Pauline. That's 7 letters. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. So now what I have to do is count over 1, 2, 3.5. The middle is dividing the L in half. Now we have 3.5 on this side, 3.5 on that side. Now we want to try to fit both names. Let's say this is the first and last name. A helpful start would be to give yourself some horizontal lines so that you're controlling the maximum height for your letters and you have a straight line to work from. Kind of like way, way back in elementary school when you were learning handwriting, you probably had lined paper like that. Maybe you even had a little middle line for your lowercase letters. So anyway, so if your folder requirement is 2 inches, you would basically, like that, connect them. If your folder requirement was 3 inches, connect them. Okay, so here's the height for a 3-inch letter. Here's the height for a 2-inch letter. Okay, so theoretically, if we were zooming out, you could pretend these are whatever inches they are. But now you've got your tops and your bottoms. You know they're the distance you want. You've got your names. You found the center of the name. So again, step 1, very quickly. Step 1, measure the folder. Step 2, divide by 2, and you mark your center. Step 3, write the name. Step 4, count the letters. Step 5, divide by 2. With me so far? Okay, so now we know the middles. So what we're going to do, I'm not going to start drawing in bubble letters immediately. I'm going to do what's called a light layout. Using pencil, not pushing very hard. This is pushing too hard. This is pushing soft. Okay, so I want to push soft. I'm just going to take the first letter, put it over on the left. Last letter, over on the right. Then the middle letters. And then I'm going to fill in the gaps, and I'm going to spread them out. And from here, since I pushed light, I can make corrections like this distance here is too big. Move my I and my N over a little bit. Let's go with Polly here again. First letter on the left, last letter on the right, middle letters. Fill in the gaps. Now these are perfectly centered, perfectly spread out. They take up the whole space I wanted. Now what I can do is bubble them. So last step, let's see, so step 6, light, layout. Step 7, bubble. So let's not forget about the race car technique that I taught everybody. If you're not good with bubble letters, what you can do is write the letter out like you would normally write it, then start your engine and drive around the race car track. If you have an inside lap, start your engine again, drive around the inside, and then very last step, race the track. You can see that I pushed too hard. Okay, so I'm just going to race car all of these. And I can already see that I maybe should scoot this E in a little bit. So before I race car it, I'm just going to put it here and then finish it. Erase the tracks. And it fits. Do the same thing down here. And obviously I'm making corrections when I feel like they're necessary. And looking at the final product, I still feel like this letter P could be a little larger. Because notice I didn't go all the way up to the top, even though I bothered to make those guidelines. There you go. So that's how you can fit your name centered evenly onto your folder.